Kids Terry here, and as promised, I thought I'd just showcase what the deck can do. Granted, we're not going against, say, a meta deck, and we do make quite a few misplays in the video, especially in Game 2, but nevertheless, I thought it'd be good to show you, so we'll just hop right into it. Since we're playing against heroes, we get to go first. So we start off with the Roxys, going into the Meow Meow, triggering Roxy's effects. We banish the Ranryu because we'd rather keep the 2 Crusaders as our free extender, and then we draw into a Terraforming, which is alright, just getting us, it can get us to another prank it if we need it. Summoning out the Fansies. So typically I always like to get out Fansies again just because it dumps anything, realistically. We then link those two into Doodle. We do Doodle 1, Fansies 2. Again, you preferably want to chain block your Doodle just because it gives you want to keep it on board for that free, for its link arrow, because you need to be able to special summon a Crusadia from your hand. So we'll have Fansies done Dropsies, and then special summon out Lampsies from our deck, and then we'll add the pranks. We'll Terraforming to add the place. While that seems weird, I have a tendency to try to get as many spells in the graveyard and field just so that if the opportunity comes, I can maximize on Celine's effect, just to get that many spells, get the spell counters, and hopefully bring back a spellcaster, which probably would be something like a Reclusia if it was a Crusader you opened. But I digress. We'll special summon the Arborea. We'll trigger Doodle's effect to add back the Fansies and the Roxys. Again, I pick these two. I picked the Fansies just because I just have a preference for it, but I picked the Roxys because I'd rather leave the Dropsies engraved just in case that I get interrupted, so I can ensure that I have as many pieces as possible in the graveyard, because throughout the combo you typically have 3 opportunities to discard, but it's just nice to leave it as that. So I move on. So we go into the Magius. We go for the pranks. We discard the Fansies to special summon the token. We link the token into Link Spider, triggering a Magius effect. Since we already have the Draco, I believe I go for the Reclusia just as a different target. Again, having a spellcaster might be useful for the Celine, and again, just a pop could come up. We'll activate the place to get the Fansies. We link those 3 into the Celine. We put 3 counters on, get Draco. If you've seen the combo portion, you know how this is going to go, so we'll just try to speed through this. Sorry, so we'll fast forward through this bit. Getting the Maximus, Pisty's effect, Draco, Romulus. Absolutely turboing through. Going for the Equimax, going for the Conda, summoning Maximus, special summon, pay 2k, drop. Those in, send to the graveyard, draw the Schism, discard the Roxy set, draw and pass. So we've ended on the full combo board. The only misplay I would say I made in this game was that, as you can see, I have the Roxys, the little Fansies, and the Doodle engraved, so I probably should have used Pranks as effect to shuffle those 3 back in, because that's fine. I want to leave the Meow Meow in the graveyard to draw 1, but overall it should still be fine. So we'll move on to the next play. So he draws droplets for turn, and normally most people go, well, look at all that beautiful board you made, guess you're just going to get ruined by the droplet. But we've always designed this in such a way that we should hopefully be able to play around things like droplets and Dark Ruler. Because we have the Schism, we can choose to hold on to it and just wait for a moment where it might be useful, and then we can always chain it. Assuming they've not sent a trap with the droplets, you can always chain Equimax, tributing it, targeting the droplets to help protect your board, which actually comes up in this game, as you'll see shortly. So it just does standard hero plays. We'll just go through that. I know that I could just use the Butler at any time, so I'm just trying to wait and see and hope. There's nothing that's currently threatening anything that I have. And then we'll go for, so he's just going to keep going. He's getting pretty far, but I mean, it just didn't feel like anything was going to hurt me at this stage. So I choose to battle Butler here because I just think if I clear away all of his board, he'll be forced to use more resources from his hand, which is quite nice. And like, but there's a potential chance that he won't be able to resolve the poly, depending what his hand was. And so we do that. We banish the meow meow. He chooses to drop it now, so he sends the poly, the Stratos, and the malicious, which is pretty good. But as we say, we chain the schism, declare its effect, and then we chain Equimax targeting the droplets, summoning window, and then he just emits defeat there. So we'll just move on. We'll just move on to the next game. Again, I get to go first. This time, again, we've opened decent, and our opponents opened, well, Dark Ruler, Lightning Storm, Nib. So we'll just go through this again. So we start off again with the same fancies, meow meow, triggering the effects. Go again. So we get to this stage. This is where we had some issues, as DB was being really weird, but he was back, then I was back, and then it was weird again, so I left again. Now we're back, so we're back in the game. So we end up with our sort of standard point where we we've reached this point where we normally do with our Prank-Kid side. So I'll special summon the Reclusia here, do Tribute Doodle, get back Fancies and Dropsies, and then I go for the Magius. And here's where I make a slight deviation from the combo. So normally, you'd use the pranks and discard and use the token for the Link Spider, but I was thinking that he had the Nib, which in this case I was right, and I thought that if he nibs me, I then realistically don't have access to the Link Spider anymore, so I can't make a like extra deck monster, so I can use the Ecclesia in my hand. So instead, because I had the Leonis, I just thought I will try to play it out this way. So we just special summon the Leonis and get the Draco here, and then we go for the Selene, we go for the Draco, getting back Magius this time because I just want to have it in case I need it for follow-up. The LP, he lets us go surprisingly far with this because I was expecting him to nib us at this point and then I have to like work around, but because he allows us to get this far, it's pretty, we get to do quite a bit. So he nibs us here, but as I said, I was sort of expecting it. So I go for the plan, just discarding the Fancies, just so I can get into grave, so I know I can go for the Verte. So we go for the Link Spider, reel the Ecclesia, spec it, link those two off into the Verte, and here's where I misplay, because this is where I should have summoned the Maximus to then do the Dogmatika side of things, but of course I forget, use Verte's effect, and send the Thunder Dragon Fusion. And because I can't special summon anymore, I've effectively just locked out one very good part of this. Like, I mean, what was he realistically going to do? I mean, in fairness, I say what he's going to realistically do. He has a Dark Ruler and a Lightning Storm, but I should have played better. I should have, like, fulfilled the combo. And then I also make a misplay here because I choose to shuffle back the Doodle, but it just happened. Sorry, not the Doodle, the Meow Meow, but it happens. Anyway, he full combos us pretty much because we are bad at this game. Like, so we reached a point here where he has, well, the Malicious Bane. He didn't even need to use any of the blowout cards because we didn't get the window out. So he uses the Bane, and I'm sitting here considering what can I do, and I think I go for I choose not to do anything here, which might seem strange, but I realize that I can use Butler's effect, and then I get back the Ecclesio, which offers me a little bit of protection. And then I can also get the fleur-de-lis just going. I can hopefully live through the malicious bane in this. I keep forgetting that the Nibiru is here, but I'll be going with it. It seemed like the best play. But then, you know what? You're just going to fast forward through this. He's just going to kill me. I'm pretty sure. Yep, yep, yep. We decided to name the sunrise because I, for some reason, thought I was going to live. And, of course, it's heroes, so, I mean... their job is to OTK some big beat sticky boys, which you're just going to deal with for this game. And we'll move on to our game 3. And again, so we've opened pretty well for ourselves. Again, like it's just the full combo, so we'll just fast forward through it. So our opponent opens the droplets, the Lightning Storm, and Poly, and Miracle Fusion, and Stratos, and if I knew this hand, I probably would have played a little differently, but what can you do? We'll just slowly get through this. Probably just end up cutting this out and editing anyway. So we get to the side, go through, blah, blah, blah. So as you can see, guys, we've just ended on the full board again. And so as you can see, guys, we've ended on the full board again, and we'll just move on to see what our opponent does. Again, I feel this is typically, if you play this well, like unfortunately I still somehow misplay with this is by playing with so many games with it, but I feel this is, again, a pretty decent board. You should have enough like oppression, but here he draws other droplets, which is kind of useless, but he has a Lightning Storm, which he just shotguns, and I'm sitting here going, do I want to negate it? Because I lose access to the window, and I feel the window against heroes is pretty clutch, so I think I choose to use the Equimax to negate it. He chooses the droplets for 1, and I chain the Schism, because I think he was going to negate the Equimax, so I might as well go for it. And we summon out our window, which he then negates, so we've not really done anything with it, but I felt it had to be done. So we summon Stratos, he adds Shadow Mist, he then chooses to Miracle Fusion, because this is the sort of other thing where Maximus sort of bit us a little bit here, because he can just do that for free, otherwise he wouldn't have really had that many plays. And he summons the Ab-Zero here, and that again is pretty awkward for us. I'm thinking whether I want a Battle Butler, and I think I choose to because I can force out the Absolute Zero on my terms rather than him triggering it by just linking it off or whatever. So we use that, the Meow Meow. We want to make sure we keep the Battle Butler on board. He tries to use drop again, then he realizes he can't because it's one turn. So he then nukes our board as well, and then we then get to form a lovely chain though of with Brotar, chain link 1, Butler, chain link 2, targeting the Maximus and Winda, targeting the Schism. So we add the Schism back, summon out the Maximus, and summon out Brotar, and then because we got the free Schism that we're never going to use again, we get to discard targeting the Maximus, and we get to draw the we get to add the Ecclesia. His turn ends there, and I'm like, that's pretty good, because I have the Fleur-de-Lis and the Ecclesia, and I still have access to, well, at least the Magius, the Doodle, and the access code, okay, just don't show me my access code, sure. Anyway, we have access to access code and everything, so I was feeling all right, but then I drew, and I even drew like Leonis, but then what I realized was I always have this debate, like, should I just go for the access code and try to kill him? Should I just lean into it? Should I just go hard as I can? and I choose to just sort of play it safe because I know that's a droplet, and I know that he has a Shadow Mist. I know he's going to get some form of benefit from it, and I realize the access code is probably going to be my linchpin in one of these games, so I just choose to try to swing in going. I still have the Fleur-de-Lis, which I can use during his turn, and it should be fine. And we just use the Thunder Dragon Fusion to get the Fansies, just to get another thing out of our deck and hopefully draw to make our draws a bit better. So we end here, and again, I'm feeling fairly comfortable. I'm like, I have an Ecclesia that can't be destroyed by extra deck monsters. We still have the Fleur-de-Lis. Like, it should be fine. But then he top decks a Hero Lives, which I was not expecting at all, like genuinely at all. So that was fun. So he goes for the Hero Lives, goes for the Stratos. I let him add the Stratos to get Stratos. He normal summons. I think whether I want to negate that here because I didn't know that he had the poly, and I'm just there going, if I negate the Stratos, it should be fine. What can he realistically do? So I go for the Fleur-de-Lis here, but then he chooses to drop us to send his Stratos, so I can't negate it. That one, and then Fleur-de-Lis. So he has a Liquid Soldier, and from there it's pretty much a wrap for us. So we'll just sort of fast forward it through. Like, we try our best, but he goes for the Vision Hero Trinity, gets the Honest Neos, and attacks us for game. So we did lose this game, but I thought I'd show it because it does get to convey what the deck can do. And I feel that apart from my misplays, I felt that the deck itself still ended pretty strongly, and there were some things we couldn't really account for. But I hope you've enjoyed seeing the sort of what the deck can do. We will probably have another variant of this coming out, which is probably a bit cheaper because it doesn't involve like the Schisms and the Dogmatika side, and it adds a very interesting tech card. So if you guys want to stay tuned for that, make sure to just keep checking out. And if you're not subscribed already, subscribe to the channel. Well, guys, it's Terry again, and I hope you've enjoyed this video.
Shh, not a zombie channel.